Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey!
What?
Good evening.
Good evening, pal. What are you doing? Let me do what now?
Getting ready for this show. Welcome to the XFL show, ladies and gentlemen.
Is that what you call this monstrosity?
That's what this is. The XFL
Oh.
show featuring Arlington Lane. That gentleman right there, besides me, my partner in crime, we do this each and every week, is my buddy. Who are you, sir? Oh, Dirty.
I am the tongue-flicking lizard Dirty.
Oh, the lizard. I would have called you a dog, but that would have been way too nice.
Right?
Way too nice, man.
Exactly. It would have been, wouldn't it?
I'm stepping outside of XFL football for just a minute. Last week we lost. We say 3 people, but there was 4. And today is a crazy day because today is the 3-year anniversary of my best friend. He passed on this day, Edward. This would be perfect time for him. Football season is around the corner, and this is what he looks forward to. His football season, college football here, NFL just around the corner. The regular season starting, of course, he would have been in it with the XFL. It is, this is that time of the year. We lost Terry Funk, we lost Bray Wyatt, we lost Bob Barker, and then
I lost my manhood.
I ain't want to know all of that, but okay. But here we are.
Okay.
But definitely wanted to make sure I show some love to those families, and definitely Edward. Edward was my guy, man, and he will always remain in my heart and in my mind when we do this show. So thank you so much. Hey, thanks everybody that's been coming on. Hey, shout out to Mike Lathrop, did a wonderful job with his recent episode with Player 54 podcast with one of the special guests was from Gateway City Sports, Will Freeman.
Yep.
So, it was great. And they talked a lot. We got a lot to talk about tonight.
We do?
Yes, we do.
What do we got to talk about?
Oh my goodness. First off, before we begin, this came across my timeline.
Yeah.
My timeline on Twitter. Boom.
Oh, huh. Interesting.
Interesting, right?
Yeah.
And then I got this tweet. Boom. Let's go there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's true.
Okay.
He did discuss it first.
Huh?
He did discuss it.
Yeah, we know. This show discussed it. But
no, he discussed it first. Got it,
But the spots weren't the spots that we were told.
What's up, Jackie? What's up, everybody?
Is that the one and only the Bramacita?
That is her. And then the hyenas on here talk about how fabulous she is. When did the queen hyena become fabulous?
I haven't seen it.
We got PJ Walker's been cut.
We gonna get to that. We're gonna get to all of it.
Gotcha. But I mean, listen, hey, kudos to Mike Mitchell for talking about them moving first back in May. I mean, it might have been somewhere else. I'm not 100% sure. But, it's cool. Give big kudos to.
There have been some other platforms that may have discussed it.
Right. Give big kudos to Mike Mitchell because he is the Mr. XFL insider.
He is an XFL insider. Yes, that is very true.
That's what they say.
He is an XFL insider. Yeah, he is.
So right. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what he said.
I'm not discrediting him.
I'm not either.
It sounds like you're throwing shade at him, dude.
No, I'm not. Mike Mitchell's a great dude. I love Mike Mitchell. I love Mike Mitchell. Mike Mitchell's a great guy. Great guy. Well, Jersey, be ready to be heartbroken because I have a feeling they're going to be playing in a stadium that's going to kind of be like a dragon.
Oh, really? So
oops,
it's not. So you telling me?
Did I say that? Oops.
You telling me, sir? It's not dealing with any devils, right? No devils.
Oops. Did I break something I wasn't supposed to say? Oops.
You just said a dragon. That could have been Seattle.
But I mean, that's right. It's true. It could have been Seattle. You're absolutely right.
But why would they want to go there though when they already have a team
there? Well, I mean, and then maybe a team is, maybe another team is moving to a dragon. I don't know.
You keep mentioning Seattle. Why do you keep mentioning Seattle, dude?
And a stadium that is like a dragon, maybe.
And there's nothing like a dragon.
You sure?
There's nothing like a dragon.
You never know. That's all I'm saying. Are we going to bring our guest in?
Huh? Is he there?
Yeah, he's right. You don't see him? He's right here. Look at him. He's looking damper in that hurricane tropical storm he's got going on.
Wow. Really?
I think there's some water. Looks like there's water dripping on his head.
That's what you're doing? That's what you're doing right now? Ladies and gentlemen, back with us on the show is
see, Will's not an idiot. Arlington, you're an idiot, but Will's not an idiot. I don't know. Maybe Snapdragon Stadium. I don't know. Maybe.
Joining us on the show tonight, and I'm getting back to where I was before I was rudely.
Oh, yeah. Get back to where you were before you were rudely cut off by an idiot.
Like you do all the time, is from the
Actually,
Report podcast.
No, I got somebody that wants to introduce my. No,
and I don't care. So anyway, coming up on the program right now is from the Player 54 podcast, the one and only Mr. Michael Lathrop. Michael, good evening to you, sir. How you doing?
Good evening. I'm good.
Yeah.
How's everyone doing?
Good, man. Good. I am wonderful. And I ain't got to hear Dirty's mouth for the time being. As a matter of fact, let's do one better. Ha! Just like that. And and now we have it where we can actually have some conversations about what's been going on. The latest news, man, that dropped is the Vegas Vipers talking about moving. Now, I've heard some things. You've heard some things. What have you heard on your end?
All right. I'm not supposedly know what I've been told, right?
You know nothing. You know nothing.
Do I know anything for fact? No, right? But I'm not the only one. Mike Mitchell alluded to this 2 months ago. I'm Matty Fresh's, surprise announcement of Coach Woodson leaving the Vipers. Okay, so this has been kind of building up for a while. Do I agree with it? I have my own issues with it, but yeah, it's been pretty well known that there are other options out there. And without getting into it, I'm not allowed to say what markets, but I'll be honest, the markets that I was told are not the markets that Mike Mitchell shared or the News Hub Mark Perry wrote in his article according to Mike Mitchell. So
right.
I mean, now that's surprising to me. Now, again, Mike is well more connected than I am. So
right.
I'm certain that he hasn't heard it from one or two people. I'm certain he's heard it from a plethora of people connected to the league or from within inside the league. My sources are much more limited, but I did hear that it was a very good possibility, which also is the reason why they cleaned house with the ticketing staff. And people, this was a move that wasn't just spare of the moment that we're finding out right now, to be fair.
Right.
This is something that has been coming. And if you clean house, so to speak, and you do not fulfill those positions because those people likely are in market. They're going to be doing grassroots type of things like we're seeing here in Orlando with Corey Helvey and his team. They're all over the place doing various festivals and stuff because that's how you connect with your market, your fan base, and try to sell tickets. It's how you do it. It's the right way to do it without spending millions of dollars. Well, that clearly is not happening in Vegas. They were only collecting deposits for season tickets. I mean, so this is not a surprise. The markets I heard are neither of those states, neither of those cities, okay? And I'll loosely kind of share. I heard Northern Central Time Zone.
Mm-hmm.
I was hearing West Coast. I won't share states. I won't share cities.
And that's fine. I'd rather you not.
Because at one, I don't want to burn the bridge with who I know. Now, is this a fact? No, because nothing's been moved. All right, we haven't seen hirings where somebody has shared that now they are the head of this or that in this particular XFL/city. So,
and they will be looser lips than that, than we will, so they'll have that out on social media before it ever gets out. And plus, Jersey the King says, "Hello, how are you, sir?"
Good evening, Jersey.
So yeah.
I mean, do I know? No. Have I heard? Yeah. And Mike's right. There were rumblings for a while. Back 2 months ago when he even shared that I'm Eddie Fresh. And here he is now sharing what he's hearing, which means it's probably a guarantee. Unfortunately, Jersey, I know you're got your show and you're invested in the team like you should be as any fan, but it sounds like this is a very good possibility. The only thing that's odd to this about me, or to me, is that the stadium is so cheap. And maybe that's why they can just toss away the deal, whatever they got paid into it, and move on. But even at polling 6,000, 7,000 people, they're profitable. They're not hurting as far as financially on it. And for a startup, that's a pretty big deal. So I'm going to leave that there. That's the surprising piece to me. It's not that they drew well. It's not like, the field conditions were great last year. So, I mean, there are some things that, trust me, could use some improvement, but, it wasn't a complete loss there, in my opinion.
Exactly. And that's why I'm sitting here and I'm like, I could not understand why at least next year if you make the move, but if it's a problem now, then by all means, they are the decision makers. They feel if that's what's best, then they should do that. But I'm sitting here like getting into this, like, I understand you did not get the venue that you wanted. There was a venue that you could have gotten, but they had already shut that down before it ever got to where, and I mean, with that, I'm talking about Sam Boyd Stadium. That was already out of the picture, so Cashman, and then you didn't want them to play in the minor league, the Las Vegas ballpark. That was rumored. That was out. So Cashman was the best available because you surely wasn't going to get them in Allegiant because there's no way that they were going to draw anything beyond 10,000. That's just the reality of it. That's what people have to understand, that it wasn't going to be a lot of people in that stadium. Hell, even when it was in Sam Boyd, they drew 40. What was it? Not even that 30,000 for that very first game. It wasn't full back in 2001. It wasn't. And so, but they were able to make it appealing. But that's my thing with this one. This is appealing, and you could have had at least another year to make this work.
Baby steps. You gotta crawl, walk before you can run. So
we got so many comments that came up after that. And look, I'm applauding. That I'm appalled, I should say, not applauding. I'm appalled by the fact that of this whole situation that we're getting this into year 2, year 3, however you want to look at it. And there's another issue in the city of Houston, where I am. And not a lot is being said about it, but there's an issue. Now, nobody knows what could happen at this rate in the game, but there's an issue. Like, it's their venue. everybody want to know what's going to happen. I know nothing about it. All I know is from what's being told out there is what's being said. They're saying that there's an issue that they could probably not play in TDECU Stadium. There's a problem with it. And the cities that they're talking about going to, at least that's what News Hub put out, Nashville and Tempe, Arizona. Tempe is going to be a problem to me if they move there. Don't believe me? Go back 4 years to when they had brought the Alliance of American Football out there. Nobody was going to those games. Mind you, this was February, March, April. Nobody was going to those games at all.
But you know,
now,
Arlington, sorry to interrupt, we kind of could see this coming. That's why Mike's comments are not really that like hard to believe to me.
right.
We've seen back-to-back years showcases. No team, but showcases were held in Arizona. So, I mean, to believe Mike and what he's been told, it's not just to believe Mike himself, but believe the information that he's getting. It doesn't seem that far-fetched because that's not the information I was given. But to start connecting dots, good, bad, or ugly, with the teams and leagues that have played there previously, could kind of see this coming. Were they preparing for a backup market, thinking maybe Vegas wasn't going to work out?
For Vegas, yeah. I'm seeing this comment here. For Vegas, it does look very discouraging because Vegas is turning into a more of a bigger sports market, and for the fact that they weren't able to make it work the way that they could and they did everything that they could in Vegas. That has been said before on this show, where you have a 9,000 seat stadium and you're able to get 2/3 of it full. That's not bad.
So not the comment you have below right now, but the one previously. It said something about investors. I was trying to read it while you were talking. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
So I want to share something here about investors. There are a number of investors, and we're not just talking about the 3 owners or the investors tied to Redbird Capital. We're talking about the future investors. We got to go back to what Jerry Cardinal has mentioned, whether it was in the Sportico Summit that he had done in various interviews. He's mentioned it multiple times that he and his partners are looking at the league as an investment, okay? And about evaluations. It's not where the evaluation was in the lead up to season 1 or at the end of season 1 or 2 or 3. It's where it ends up. And he kept using an example in Major League Soccer. And he says, I see very similar evaluations. For those that are not aware with Major League Soccer, it was never super expensive to buy in. Not until recent years where it cost $100 million or whatever to start buying into these market to get your right to a market and become an MLS franchise. What could this be? I know what I was told. The markets that I was told were tied to people that were potentially ready to buy in. And if you're going to sell off these franchises, and this is what the long-term play is. The short-term is take your loss, whether it's year 1, year 2, whatever you got to do. But prepare to build something that's more recognizable, something that's got better partnerships, better TV ratings, all the above. Investors will come. Well, if an investor is telling you, I'd be interested, but I'd like to have a team in city A or city B. Well, if you're the XFL and you're sitting here like, we're going to have a problem in Vegas. It's not looking that good. Well, do we consider city A or city B? Because they might be from one city and living in the other city now. Right? They have ties one way or another. I get
all of that. It's just, to me, like, you have to go with what it, and like you said, it's always going to be a money thing. If the money wasn't right, then why would you go to Vegas in the first place? Because the believed notion was they were going to be in a bigger venue where they could get the massive audience, the big, the Vegas lights and whatnot, and also getting, because they're being in a big sports market now because it's growing. Because let's not forget, they got the hockey team, that Stanley Cup and all that good stuff. Then you had You also have the Aces with the WNBA. You also got the Raiders. So they're starting to build themselves as a big sports market. Baseball could be coming soon for them. And then the potential of an NBA team getting down there. So they're building it. They're starting to build it. And they were trying to get the XFL into it. The problem was they didn't have a viable venue to get them in.
Well, I mean, they're in the
I
betting
promise,
capital.
Mike, we get into that. I promise, Mike. All the things that they're putting out about these guys getting cut, we're going to get to that. But I got to talk about the relocation stuff because we were trying to avoid it for so long because we did not want that to happen. We were to focus on the game and making sure that the season goes down and that everybody got a chance to play and whatnot. If Dirk decided to bring himself back in.
Well, you're not the only one that's been trying to avoid it. I think, although Mike shared it 2 months ago, I think a lot of us have been part of those conversations. Not that you and I have had it, not that Dirty and I have had it, but I've had those conversations with multiple other people. And I'm not just talking about friends or family. I'm talking about people that are connected with the alternative football community. So I think a lot of us have avoided it because no one's ran with it either on their show or in their articles. Because, I mean, any one of us have had some piece of information that we knew there was a very high possibility of this happening, but we may have had different markets that were shared with us. But I mean, either way, anybody could have ran with a story if they wanted that clickbait or those headlines, but none of what, because trying to be responsible. I know I'm not a journalist, but some people like to refer to me as one, but I'm like, I'm just still trying to be responsible. But here we are, the cat's out of the bag for the second time around. Now we got to kind of talk about it because it's real, folks. It's a very high percentage chance that the Vipers are not playing in Vegas in 2024.
And the real crazy part was the day before that tweet came out, XFL had announced Orlando and San Diego were getting supplemental showcases. So I'm like instantly thinking there, I'm like, okay, why San Diego? I get Orlando, but why San Diego now? Why is San Diego in the mix?
But that's not the first time for San Diego either.
Exactly, correct.
You got the specialist showcase back in 2022. So, I mean, technically, you could start to say, is that a dot and another dot to connect? Yeah, maybe.
You're itching to say something, aren't you, Dirty? You're itching to say something. I know you are. You've been itching.
So, let's look at it like this. Listen, again, not saying anything against anything, but we literally, Arlington, talked about this the week after the championship game. And if you recall, Arlington, we said that one team could move to another city where there's a team already, and another team could move from that city to a Snapdragon, right? We've talked about this, and that was the only time we talked about. It was the week after the championship game. We talked about Vegas moving, and I said that's the only time we're going to talk about it, right? Now, again, it's just, Michael, it's like you said, connect the dots. I know they said Nashville. They're not going to move to Nashville. I'm almost positive.
Is this the dirty speculation coming out now?
No, okay, you want the dirty speculation? It's going to be San Diego, because I have the connection in San Diego that it's already being looked at for Snapdragon Stadium for San Diego.
No way.
Yeah. If you recall, Arlington, before the league kicked off, we had a guy that was part of the XFL San Diego group, right?
Uh-huh.
That was marketing for the Vipers to come to San Diego in the get-go. And if you remember, Arlington, when they only sold 400 season tickets to Vegas, it was already talked about them going to San Diego and then flying the fans who had bought the 400 tickets as an extra bonus to San Diego for the game.
Okay.
So, it is like Mike said, everywhere you see a showcase at, here's where they've had a team at, right?
Okay.
But Mike, now would the relocation be harmful? for the longevity of the league? No, it wouldn't be at all. Not at all. Okay, but again, all these other stadiums have stuff in them. Also,
right. Case in point.
I'm just saying this. If I'm saying anything, I'm saying it's San Diego.
This is to Mike's example. Will relocation be harmful? The Los Angeles Chargers, very first season in professional football was in LA. The very next year, they moved to San Diego. Lasted for as long as they did before moving back to Los Angeles. That doesn't mean that that's what's going to happen here. My point is that it can happen. It can happen. And then it doesn't matter. Like Vegas could come back down the line. Just not right now. It's just that right now Vegas it was more, and I hate to even use this word, but it's probably the best word to use. It was an experiment. It was an experiment to see if it could actually work in Vegas. And I understand, Jersey. I understand that. It's hurtful because you start buying into a team and then they move. St. Louis know all about that, don't they?
Yeah. And look right here. Look, they've gotten this all centrally located for everything, right?
And I get that.
And it says it right here. I don't think Tennessee would be a good option since you would have to realign both divisions, and it wouldn't make sense to have 5 Southern teams. If you move them to Tennessee, how are you going to do this?
Well, you don't have to. How are you going to do it? You don't have to change anything.
Well, that's true. You don't really have to.
It's a north-south division. Tennessee is just as far north, or Nashville is just as far north as Washington, D.C.
That's true. You got a point.
So, if you're going by purely north and south, not east and west, maybe the league had this in mind, people. You got to stop and sometimes look at it. If we're going to start connecting the dots, doesn't mean this is all true, but it just means if it's north-south, Nashville, Tennessee is in your North Division.
Oh, Michael, I'll tell you it's true.
What?
Because
what are you saying is true?
We were told to talk about this the week after the playoffs because the XFL wanted feelers out there to see how people, because think about how crappy the XFL treated Seattle. Think about how crappy they treated them with their scheduling and stuff like that, right? So it was put out there by feelers that if they move the Vegas to Seattle and move Seattle, the Sea Dragons, to Snapdragon, would people be upset? We talked about it, and I don't think people really care. So it's true. It's been going on since the week after the championship game. These talks have been going on that long. That long is how long this has been going.
I didn't hear that. Right. If I'm a Seattle fan and they're thinking about taking your nickname away from you to give to another franchise and get another.
No. It would be the Seattle Vipers and the San Diego Sea Dragons.
Yeah, but Sea Dragons would then also be rebranded.
I see where he's coming from.
I see where you're coming from.
The Vipers would be rebranded to its third city. Come on, what are you doing? Are they the Harlem Globetrotters? What are they doing? I'm just saying, if you're doing that, and it is.
Well, here's all I'm saying is they made the mistake in Vegas. They're realizing they made the mistake in Vegas, and now they got to fix it. Does it suck for the Vegas team? Yes. Does it suck? Yes. But they got to do it. They got to fix it. It's that simple.
Interestingly enough, as we get into the halfway point, this is the X-Fan show. Really, dude? Oh, I guess because it's not. Why? See, and this is why people don't like you. I know you don't care, but still. And we get aced out of opportunities because of the stupid crap that you do there.
What are you talking about? I didn't do anything. I just farted.
No, you do everything. This is the X-Fan show. Shut up. This is the X-Fan show, sponsored by Wild Sun Winery and Brewery. Really? You just doing anything you want at this case right now? Seriously? Seriously? As I'm going to sit here and talk about the big party that's supposed to be happening.
September 9th. Michael, did you get your ticket yet? Hey, Sandy.
I have not.
No, you've been dealing with hurricanes, so you can't.
That's not the issue. It's my wife's health. You've
been dealing with hurricanes, Michael. That's all we'll leave it at. Nobody else needs to know that. Don't know that stuff. Right there, scan that QR code. Yeah, see, look, Ryan Murphy goes, I like Dirty. Ryan, get your tickets to September 9th. Come hang out with me. I'll buy you a man soda. Right here, see, look, Dirty Aaron's his nickname. See, people like me. Be quiet. September 9th, scan the barcode. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, you can go on to X-Fan Show. You can go to the Twitter page, you can go to the Facebook page. Just make sure you scan the code and get your tickets now. Straight up.
Right.
All right.
Exactly.
We got Michael Lathrop from Player 54 podcast on.
See, look at this. Brahma Babe said she's got her ticket.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
See, look at this. I like Dirty on mute. Shut up.
Thank you, Robert. See, y'all understand me. Y'all understand me.
Listen, she's saying Dirty's gross. Is that what she's really saying?
This is what we came to talk about for real. Is what just occurred in the NFL with roster cuts.
Hey, listen.
That's what we came for.
Will Freeman says he's got his ticket. Listen, I've said it from day one. It's a bad idea for them to be partnering with the NFL. A bad idea.
Ho.
I've been saying it since day one that it's a bad idea for the XFL to be working with the.
Now, you know, he's sitting there just blatantly lying to y'all right now. He's blatantly backing up everything he said. He's backing up everything he's saying.
Hold on. Let's ask our guest. Michael, have you ever heard me lie? I've always said that the XFL should not be working with the NFL, right?
You know he's wrong for it.
Yeah, I don't know. Your speculations and stuff, I think you're all over the place a little bit. So sometimes it's tough to find out what is the true, what you think and what you're kind of going on a limb. All right. So is it a politically safe answer? Yes, absolutely. I'm playing a little politics.
I like Mike, man, because he sat there and like, as much as I want to sit there and agree with this, I'm going to leave it alone. But I appreciate that.
Listen, everybody sitting here goes the BS. Here goes my lie. Yes, I've been saying it since day one. They should not be working with the NFL. It was a bad idea. It was a bad idea of working with the NFL this entire time.
You said it exactly. There you go. He got selective amnesia.
Never have selective. I said every player. Sandy goes, you lie. I said every player that got drafted or got signed by the NFL.
You can't even make up your own lie correct. Okay, so stop it. You can't even make up your own lie right now. You start stuttering.
Anyways, let me get my composure back. Anyways, I said it. It's a bad idea. I can't even say it. Straight face. It's terrible. Listen, shut up, Michael. See what I have to deal with? You see what I have to deal with? Huh? You see this, Michael? Huh?
It's gotta be rough.
Ridiculous, right? Ridiculous. Laughing like a hyena. Laughing like a cackling hyena.
You sit there and you watch me whine, dude. That was comical enough for me, man.
No, listen. Look at this. Forensically trained. He's lying.
But okay, here's the thing, though. I looked at this, and only one player that we know has remained on an NFL roster. One. That player, and somebody, if you find another one, fine. I'm cool with that. But from what I saw on that list, one made the 53-man roster.
Three.
Who was the others?
You had Lucky Jackson still
no,
not
he
on
didn't.
that cut.
He got cut.
He did. Okay. All right. Did Lucas Dennis get cut yet?
Cut. He got cut too. You ready for the next one?
That means Darius Shepard?
Cut too.
Oh, snap.
So, the only person
Yeah.
was the Defenders punter, Dan Wheeler. The only that made the team. That made the 53-man roster. He's the only one. Now, there's more. Let us know.
Yeah, please find them. So here's the question we have to.
I saw on that list that was not cut was Dan Phelan. Everybody else was cut. Any name that you could think of that had some big impact got cut. The
Well,
XFL,
you know what that means?
the XFL's Defensive Player of the Year was cut.
Hold on. You know what that means, Michael and Arlington? You know what that means? The most prolific player is back in the XFL.
But and I get that part. All the players are back.
The Nooch!
No.
The Nooch is
Even
back! Yeah! Yeah!
Cut.
Guys,
It don't matter.
It doesn't mean they're back. They had their contracts terminated so they could
They were
sign
cut
with the
too.
National Football League.
That is true.
No,
They
are
could make.
all technically free agents.
Yes.
Right. That's true.
100% free agents to do what they want. So there's
Yeah.
no guarantee anybody come back. And
That is true.
We could go down the road with DiNucci. And I don't want to come across negative. It didn't look like a happy marriage there with some of the coaching staff with him on the sideline. So I don't know if he'd be welcome to come back anyway.
That is true. That is true. But they do own all of the rights. But here's the question, and as it is in the title, XFL to the NFL. Like, I don't know if anybody has the Roku TV or Roku streaming thing. Go on there and watch The Pick Is In. The very first thing they say, right, is that Jerry Jones says there's 75,000 players vying for a spot in the NFL draft. And he said roughly 250 of them are drafted. That doesn't even guarantee they make the team. They just get drafted. Doesn't mean. So for anybody that says that that there is not enough talent, again, now we are thinking of the NFL as the end-all, be-all of professional football sports, right? Like, look, ask a guy like Mike Tackett who watches 17 different other football leagues from around the world. There are other football leagues out there that are viable leagues. Regardless if you love or hate the CFL, it's been around longer than the NFL. Been longer than the NFL. Still surviving every year. People are like, oh, it's going to fold. It's going to fold. But yet, it keeps coming back every single year. I get that the NFL is the end-all, be-all. But I'm going to ask you guys this. Isn't there enough players by that little remark? And if you don't believe me, go watch The Pick Is In on the Roku channel. Very good.
It's free.
It's free. But isn't there enough players to support a spring football league? Teams. Leagues.
Especially an 18 one that has roughly over 400 players. And then you have another league that's doing the same thing or close to that 400 number. And then you have other leagues like the CFL. You also mentioned the European League of Football, right? Then there's the IFL. Then you got the NAL. Then you got arena football that's coming out. There's talent everywhere.
Right here. See, Gabriel says, keep in mind that some of these players that have been cut can still be picked up off the waivers or signed with other teams or practice squads.
100%.
Teams are likely not done cutting players to make room for players released for other squads.
Totally agree.
But my thing
I agree with that.
My thing is this. I like the fact that NFL play or XFL players are getting a shot in the NFL. Okay, I'm not a huge fan of it.
But again, I'm going to say this. I'm going to ask you guys, are they really getting a shot?
What
are
do you
they really? I don't think they are. They don't really. I mean, Akeem Butler was only on the field for one series. That was it.
And he got injured.
Got cut due to injury.
But that's what they say.
Well, I'm just saying.
That's what they say. DiNucci got to play a total of 5 series.
So, Dirty, let me ask you this.
Yep.
If you sign a contract, there's a monetary value to that.
Yep.
All right. Doesn't have to be worth millions if it's a 1-year deal. Could be just worth, $700,000, $800,000, $900,000. Okay. But if you're signing a contract and let's just use quarterback for an example. And the other quarterbacks are signed and they have a guarantee of $7, $8, $9, $10 million. You already know the likelihood of them making the 53-man roster is next to nothing.
Mhm.
Because who financially would you be willing to cut? The guy making $800,000 that's guaranteed, or the guy making $8, $9, $10 million guaranteed? Plus, what's the cap to their? What's the hit to their cap? That's another thing you have to factor in here.
I agree. You're going to cut the guy that's making the less money. I agree with that.
Especially
100%.
Especially if they're close, if they're competing, even if it's a hair off or a hair above, if it's close, money talks.
Yeah, I'm not faulting these guys for wanting to live that dream. I'm not faulting them at all for wanting to live that dream, right? I mean, if you look at what they did in the XFL, you win games, you get extra money, right? So, I mean, look, Kobe Tucker didn't even play, just was at a showcase and got signed to the Atlanta Falcons and then cut. So again, we don't know what these kind of contracts are. What if let's just use DiNucci as the example, right? He signs the contract for the $800,000, right? And they say, well, we're going to send you back to the XFL to work on some more stuff. We know that Brian Hill had a contract signed with the 49ers while he played with the XFL and played with the Battlehawks. And we know that the 49ers were paying him. So it's your double dipping. Like, I don't blame them for doing it. But at a point, I guess it's, as not being a professional athlete, it's when do you decide, okay, is this a good option for me? Or do I just stay with this where I'm guaranteed in the XFL? I guess that's how you have to look at it.
Why not both?
Well, I agree. If you can double dip, why not?
If you can get signed and play only preseason, and let's even say the whole $800,000 isn't guaranteed. Let's say you're guaranteed $200,000, $300,000 of it. Why wouldn't you just go play preseason and make $200,000, $300,000 and come back and sign on for a spring league?
Yeah, why not?
What if that's not even guaranteed money?
Well, there's probably got to be something guaranteed. I'm assuming to some extent. I'm something.
I'm sure they're guaranteed a game
probably
check.
A signing bonus of some sort, even if it's only $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. There's probably, who knows what everyone's is going to be different. So it's tough to really use a generic number because quarterbacks and wide receivers and defensive backs, they're all getting something different anyway. But if it's some sort of money, you're getting paid something to be there. Yes, it's an opportunity. You're getting in front of the scouts. You might even latch onto the practice squad, still make more money if you make $11,000 a week if you latch on for however many weeks. And if it still doesn't work out, you end up back in the XFL, the USFL, wherever else.
But
these guys are trying to get by.
Right. So like right here, what Gabriel says, he said that I asked a good question. These guys are fighting an uphill battle in the eyes of these coaches and the owners, in his opinion. This is not a fair look when you're getting signed as a camp body. It's horrible. Again, so it's really on how you look at it. If you're a football purist, right, and you love the NFL, you got these guys coming in from these alternative leagues, but yet they're getting cut. So is it a good look for these alternative leagues that these guys are going in basically as a camp body and then turn around and getting cut? Like right here, what Brahma Babe says, how does it work for Patrick? Signed 2 years with the Titans. Did he get cut, Arlington? Did Patrick get cut?
He did. Yeah.
So, is that money of his guaranteed, or how is it? How does it work? That's the thing we don't know. So what I'm saying, is this a good look for the XFL when you have 66 players?
We had this conversation. It's a good look for them because they're going to say, we helped get you there. Now it's going to be up to those NFL teams whether they're willing to take them on. And a lot of them will not because of bodies, camp bodies. I'm like, a lot of times these people are getting signed just before the freaking season begins. So they're just going to be there
right
for
here,
like a week, or if that much, and then they're gone.
And this is what Mike said right here. We also got to remember that the practice squads don't start coming out until tomorrow. A lot of these players will be on practice squads. You're absolutely right. They will.
We hope to clear waivers. Anyone that got cut today has to clear waivers. So here's the thing.
Correct.
Just because you got cut, let's say DiNucci got cut from the Broncos. doesn't mean he doesn't make it on a 53-player roster someplace else. I'm not saying
That is
he's
true.
going to. I'm just saying he's got to make it through the waiver of 31 other teams. If one of the other 31 teams do not take him in the waiver, then he's available to sign a practice squad with any NFL team if he wants to.
Correct.
It doesn't have to be the Broncos, but the same goes for every one of these other players. So there's a chance that somebody could still get picked up on waivers and end up in a 53-player, active roster. So let's not hang our hat on one guy yet. It does look like that's the only thing for right now. But tomorrow or the coming days, we might find something else to be true. Okay, but it doesn't look like it's going to be a lot. But then we will see a good number, and I'm not going to split hairs on what a good number is, but it's not going to be one or two people that end up on practice squads. So it's going to be a decent number. Of the 66 players or whatever it was that had signed National Football League contracts, we're going to see a good chunk, I won't say 50%, but a good chunk of them are still going to latch on and be affiliated with the National Football League for, if not the whole season, at least a good portion of it. So let's not say that this is all lost here for these players, because being a practice squad still gives you a chance to play yourself into the active roster when injuries or poor performances pop up from some of those players. So let's not say this is all lost yet for all these players. We knew from the get-go that each of the 66 players were not going to be playing in the National Football League come this fall. So we knew that to be true. So let's kind of have some realistic expectations and look at this in an honest light, okay?
Exactly.
So I'm going to look up and see do we know what a practice player makes?
I believe it depends off whether you're a rookie or if you're a veteran. I think there's tiered. It's no different than like there's a NFL league minimum.
Okay, so here.
And then for rookie or veterans.
All right, so you ready? So on average, they make $12,000 per week or $216,000 for 18 weeks. That's a good chunk of change.
It's hard to pass.
That's a good chunk of change. See, like right here. Sandy goes, she says that she thinks it's a bad look for the NFL. Is it really a bad look for the NFL? No, in my eyes, it shows, again, it goes back to what I've said about the NFL. The NFL, if you don't fit an NFL scheme, you're not going to be on that team. You're not going to be in that league. It's an established league that already has its stuff set up, right? Like here, Mike says, I don't care in the end if having good competitive football in the XFL, if it's enjoyable to watch. At least shows the XFL talent is respectable, just not NFL caliber. XFL is Mizzou, NFL, XFL is Mizzou, and NFL is Georgia. You know, Mike says right here with the spring leagues. Spring league players have to treat camp body opportunities the same way as a guy who is seeing a married woman, knowing what is in it and just enjoy it. Do enough right and just maybe it'll work out.
I'm going to try to save Mike. Let's try to save Mike from getting too much screen time on that before he gets himself in trouble with women.
Yes.
Okay. Why don't we just ask ourselves kind of a slightly flip on this question? Would we rather the NFL just be honestly like, we're not interested? That's how bad your players are. Would we rather that be the stigma that comes out for the XFL? You know what? We're not even interested in your players. They're so bad that we're not even interested. Is that what we want?
Of the league.
Does that look worse for the league? But does that look bad for the XFL for all the casual people that we're trying to bring in as fans? Whether to get them in the seats, to get them to watch the games? We have to ask ourselves, what do you want? There's two sides to every coin. We're asking, is it a bad look they got cut? At least they got brought in the publicity where the NFL coaches are sitting there in their own press conferences giving essentially glowing remarks or almost endorsements of these alternative football leagues like the XFL. If they don't sign any of these guys, you don't have any of that. We need to bring in more people to make sure that alternative football, spring football, is here beyond 2-3 seasons. We need more fans. We're going to need those people to think this league is something worthwhile. If the NFL's taking notice and giving glowing remarks and willing to sign contracts with these guys and bring them in at a glowing number that we've never seen before, 66 players from one league, that is good. It's a good step. come on. We can't expect everyone to be on the 53 play.
See, it's funny, Arlington, that Michael just said that, because what were we talking about before this show? What were we talking about? We were talking about, for this league to succeed, is every single city that has a team, whether you like it or not, you have to support every other city to help that city's fan base grow.
You know what I mean? At least for now.
You have to. So all you St. Louis people that we want to talk about, oh, we had the highest attendance. Cool. But you want to shit on every other city, on all 7 other cities. Like here, I'll give a dude credit right here. Where's he at? Right here. Right here, Mike. I know that dude went to at least 3 away games for the Battlehawks. At least 3 away games for the Battlehawks.
I saw
went to another city to help support that city.
I saw him in Houston, yeah.
Yeah. We have to get over this. The St. Louis fans, we have to get over this. We are holier than mighty. Guess what? Our one city is not going to be able to sustain this entire damn league. It's not going to. You have to have every other 7 cities step up and grow and help them grow, instead of wanting to shit on all of them. You guys want to say you're the best fan base? Then act like it. Go and support the other teams. Go and buy their merchandise. I don't care if you go and buy their merchandise and then burn it at a tailgate. At least you supported that team.
Dirty, I'm gonna share something, and I wholeheartedly agree with what you're saying. Anyone that knows me personally knows I grew up in Western New York, and for whatever reason, I love Dan Marino, became a Miami Dolphins fan. So what is the fan base that I loathe? The Buffalo Bills. Okay, I loathe them.
Yep.
My high school friends know it. My college friends know it. Any adult friends I've had know that I can't stand them. But you want to know who travels well?
Bills fans.
And go to a Miami Dolphins game. And now that whether I came down here before when I was a resident of New York and now I live here, they turn out. And they're not because they're just relocated fans. They jump on the flight. They book the hotel. They do a vacation. They're doing it for the National Football League, people are put their money where their mouth is. And I'd rather a Bills fan, and trust me, I loathe them. I've had plenty of discussions with them. I'd rather hear it from a Buffalo Bills fan towards me being a Dolphins fan that my team sucks, that whatever, X, Y, and Z, because that person is not full of it. That person is wholeheartedly invested into that team and essentially the league, right? And they're going to show up and be like, look, we are the best fans because of X, Y, Z. Now, I don't believe they're the best fans, but let them have their moment here on this show. But I'm just like, but if you want to be the best fans, then you have to prove it. And, maybe I didn't do enough traveling here for the XFL season. I attended Guardians games, made it to the championship game. Can I do a better job? Yeah, but I had a whole lot going on, getting married and blah, blah, blah.
Right, yeah.
I mean, but not, excuses. But we'll have to see what happens, coming up this season. But yeah, we have to be better. If we are telling casual football fans or fans of other cities that they're crap, then what have you done other than be one of 30,000 people in a stadium to prove that you're any better? What proves it?
Yeah, exactly. And okay, Mike, this is what I'm going to say to this is I really, truly, wholeheartedly believe the XFL did not need the NFL's help. I really believe it. And the reason why I say that is because for that type of league, it's all about daring to be different. And we living in a culture these days where nobody wants anything to really change. I'm not saying you buck the horse, like try to compete against the NFL. You have the spring for yourself. You get to a point where if you learn the aspects of the past, like the AFL, the USFL and stuff like that, you know what I mean? They were able to sustain for a lengthy period of time. I know the USFL did not, but that was due to greed. I understand money runs all these different leagues, but also to have a sustainable league for the spring would actually be pretty good The ratings did not do as bad as everybody would have thought. Everybody looked and said, well, they were in the 500, 600, 700,000. You have to remember, viewership for television has changed a lot. And then there was just news that dropped that there's going to be more opportunities for viewership to be counted via streaming. That is now going to be a part of when you watch different sports. If you're not watching it at home, you can watch it on your tablet, you can watch it on your phone, you can watch it wherever you are, and that's going to be considered counted. So that's
the Nielsen ratings, right? The official ratings.
It'll be a part of the official Nielsen rating. So that's huge.
So like, look here, my Vegas Vipers shirt I bought to support the league. My Sea Dragons hoodie I bought to support the league. My Arlington Renegades hat I bought to support the league. My Vegas Viper hat. My DC Defender hat.
What? It's practically easy, sir.
Look, hold on. My Seattle Dragons hat. No, it's about supporting this league. I don't have to like these teams, but at least I'm buying merchandise for these teams that's helping the league sustain. Again, I don't care if you go and buy a Seattle Sea Dragons jersey and burn it at a tailgate. You know what you just did? You just bought something to help support the league. You know what I'm saying? That's what this is about. Supporting the other teams. Buy some of their merchandise. Hell, try to go to one of their games. You could go on Expedia.com right now, buy a package, because guess who's going to be in Orlando come October 6th through the 8th? This guy right here, because I found a hotel with a flight for like $250 for the showcase. I'm going to go to the showcase and support it. Get there.
Dirty.
This isn't just about your team. They say this is the fans league. Okay, Russ, cool. Only buy Battle Hawk gear. But when this league folds up, don't be the guy complaining that this league folded up. Don't be that guy.
Let's give some kudos to the people, though, that turned out for the XFL championship game in San Antonio. We had fans from everywhere, okay? So there are people that I think realized how important that was. I like to have those same people, and hopefully even more, realize how important it might be to go support your team on the road. Just, you can still support your team. If you don't want to buy merchandise of the other teams, just go support your team on the road. If you're in Texas and you have two other teams, man, there should be traveling caravans. I mean, I don't live in Texas, so I know it's easier said than done, but I'm like, it just seems like that's an easy opportunity. Now, if you're in Seattle, it might be a little bit more difficult because you're, mileage-wise, a ways away from the next team, even to get in a car or whatever. But I get it. Everyone has financial restraints, but the league to buy tickets, I mean, I remember watching Deuce, that's going to be one of the co-hosts for our, the Neon Green Mafia show. He mentioned how the Guardians were selling $4 tickets at one point. If you can't go on the road and take you, your significant other, and a couple of your kids or whatever for $4 a piece, just plus travel expenses and maybe one hotel room, well then, yeah, I guess the league's not going to make it. You know what I'm saying? Just work something out, one road trip or whatever. So hey,
Patrick disappeared.
There he is.
Oh, there's that.
Ladies and gentlemen, there he is from Analyze and Educate, Patrick Ruffino.
Man, we got 2 minutes left. I'm fat and I'm hungry.
You can leave if you want. You can leave if you want to, sir.
Don't get snippy with me.
Yo, you can leave if you want, dude. I can continue on this conversation with these guys, and you don't have to stay.
The funny thing is, Patrick and I, this is the second time today we're bumping into each other.
Yeah.
So Patrick, we have we can barely see him too.
Well, you can't see him. I don't even know where he's at.
He's in his car. Is where he's
Russ,
at.
Okay, hold on. Look, Ryan, we tried to do it. We tried to get the Battlehawk Nation to go to Texas for the very first game in San Antonio. We had a bus. It was cheap. Nobody wanted to do it. Everybody backed out.
Okay, this is the thing. This is the thing for this. And I know we tried to do it beforehand too. This was the thing. And I bet you, Dirty, this is what happened. You got to understand, this league, you did not know what it was going to be at all. You didn't know. You didn't know that in 2020. You didn't know that in 2023. If there was some consistency year after year after year, maybe
that's fine. I agree with that.
They would do it. But because you didn't know and there was a big unknown of how everything was going to play out, nah, that ain't for me right now.
Here's what Russ says. He says, I agree that the fans need to travel better.
I think season 2 should be bigger. And when it comes to that, because now you got to see it sustain and you're going to get another year. You saw the games. You can even go back on YouTube and watch them and whatnot. When you had them on ESPN Plus, you could watch them there. But you saw the game. You know what it's like. They had a whole full season. Got to see a championship.
Mike, did you miss? We said we're not surprised that so many of these players got cut. And the question is where are they gonna wind up at? A lot of them are gonna wind up on practice squads probably. I'd say at least 30 of them wind up on practice squads.
Question for Patrick Ruffino, sir.
Yes, Where is Patrick Ruffino?
He's there. Oh. I can see him.
I'm actually where Jason the last time I saw you. I'm leaving that area.
Oh, over by the showcase?
Yeah, that's where I've been spending some time. Schooling up the next generation.
Robert,
there you go.
But sir, one of the big names was, of course, Ben DiNucci. You think he's going to get on a practice squad?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Mike and we talked about it a little bit. I mean, I think it came down to dollars. You gave Jared Stidham $10 million or $9 million over a couple years. Granted, we just saw PJ Walker get released, but I mean, I think DiNucci winds up at the practice squad there. I mean, the Bears have come out and said they're going to bring Peter Mann as their QB3. So I feel like we'll be in the same dynamic for that. Something to keep eyes on that is there anyone with a Sean Payton connection that got released from the Saints? And I don't think there is, or from maybe you could see him sneaking one of his guys, like a Trevor Siemian, to be honest with you, who was just by the Bengals. But I think with Joe Burrow having some injuries and whatnot, you might want to keep your practice roster. So it looks like Ben to the practice squad seems to be pretty, par for the course. And Jason, I think we'll see about 35% of these guys. So, in the 30s between the USFL and XFL, and then we'll probably see those in-season signings that will kick those numbers up a lot more, in my opinion.
So you're saying 23 players. You say 23 players.
Right now, I would go 25. I'd be very comfortable at 25. When they broke camp in the USFL, and I'll have to look at my spreadsheets, I think they were at like 20. It was like 21 or 22. They had a high watermark of 24 players on an NFL payroll during the season, and then they had 28 different players on a practice squad or a regular season roster after training camp. And they had 60 signings, but then I think some people attributed like James Morgan and Carson Strong as USFL guys, because the league has never came out with like a press release. So it's kind of more just like people doing their own homework and whatnot.
Right now, here, I got a question for the three of you. I know I bet you guys already know who I would say.
Yeah, I already know.
But the better spring QB, Ben DiNucci, PJ Walker, Alex Magoo, or someone else. And then Mike says, I'd like to see Mac Duggan get a shot in the XFL. So we're just going to go with those three guys, DiNucci, Walker, or Magoo.
Magoo is not an XFL guy.
I said spring quarterback. He said spring quarterback. He didn't say XFL.
All right.
I'm an idiot, but at least I can read. I went to prolific reading at Ricky Prohl's school. So do you guys know who? I'll let you guys. We'll let Mike go first. The better quarterback out of the three of them, Ben DiNucci, PJ Walker, or Alex Magoo?
I think it's hard to go against Magoo. He's done it back-to-back years. You know what I'm saying? He's got, more longevity coming in. It seems like he's, not only a champion, but I mean, like he stayed with one team. He proves what he kind of is over, season in, season out. But DiNucci had a solid year, no doubt. But I mean, it is kind of a one-off thing. And, Pat and I kind of got in, a little deeper with who he is as a person too, with coaches. And, I don't know. I bet you it just doesn't sit well with some coaches. He's kind of, confidence is good, but sometimes overconfidence doesn't also bode well.
All right, Mike, Pat.
I'll probably get some flack from this, but I'm going to go with PJ in the limited sample size, because if we think about what Alex Magoo and Ben DiNucci went through, it was essentially a dilution of talent across two leagues. When PJ went against the throw for, and if anyone wants to bring up the stats, please do. It was, I think, 1554 passing yards, 15 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and I think he wasn't he might have been a top 15 rusher if I remember correctly, and maybe a touchdown or two on the ground. Through 5 games, you do the math, double that, you're looking at breaking every air quote modern spring league record. You have to think too that a lot of these guys came from the AAF. They were cuts. You had guys like Kenny Robinson who were, forgoing their draft eligible year to go into. I think PJ probably played against higher talent because there was no competitor. There was, people were still fresh off the AAF and whatnot. And I think, there was a little bit more hope with the XFL 2020, and nothing against the guys in 2023, but in 2023, I feel like, and we've talked about this, is there's a lot more, okay, let me see you do it till I believe you, because I've already had my heart broken once. I'm not going to let that happen again, as far as like guys really investing in the spring leagues, in my opinion. And from what I've talked to some candidates as well, is that now they're more in 2024 than they were in 2023.
All right, Arlington.
I'm going to say the same thing as what Pat said. I'm going to pick PJ Walker, because as much as I detested him on the field, he was phenomenal. And then he had Cam Phillips to make a great 1-2 punch in a June Jones offense. That was something. I know Ben DiNucci would probably be number 2 on this list. And I'm not saying that because of Alex Magoo being in a different league. I'm saying that for the fact of who he had on offense. When he had guys like Jacour Pearson, Juwan Green as his 2 receivers, he was able to get the ball to pretty much anybody. And so it became very easy. They got the 7-3 mark and got into the playoffs. And being with careless turnovers, if he didn't have those careless turnovers, we talking Ben DiNucci's the MVP, the offensive player of the year over Jordan Ta'amu.
Which calmed down a lot more the last 4 games. A lot of that was front loaded, if I remember. I'd have to look at the game.
Right. A lot of it was. And that's what my thing was about it was the whole thing with him was he was just throwing it, and see if it'll work. Throwing against the wall, see if it sticks. And right, and see, now I get that, Gabe. I get it, Gabe. I get it. Magoo had great talent around him too, right? And he should be number 2 on the list. But I saw DiNucci a lot more than Magoo, and he just fits the bill. And PJ was making throws like he was Patrick Mahomes in 2020. So that's what give him the top spot, and I think at this rate, he's going to find another home somewhere.
All right. So
I go Magoo 2, AJ 3, Ben 4.
I'm gonna mic drop because all three of you are wrong. All three of you are wrong. If you read the question, better spring QB, Ben, PJ, Alex Magoo, or someone else?
I knew you was going through to someone else. I knew you was going to go there.
Really?
Yeah.
No, don't lie, because you thought I was going to go with Danucci.
Because that's who you been.
Don't lie.
I know who you're going. I bet you I know who you're going. I'll say it for you. You ready?
Okay.
The offensive player of the year, Jordan Ta'amu.
Nope.
Luis Perez, Hall of Famer.
There you go. There you go. The smartest quarterback of spring football. Right there. Look what he did in the USFL. Look what he did in the AAF. Charlie's defunct bullshit, right? Look what he did there. Then look what he did. Look what he did in 2020, right? Look what he did in 2020. Then he goes to Charlie's, clustered dump of a dog pile of poop and did what he did there. Then he went to the USFL. Look what he did there. Then he came to the XFL. Got stuck with Rod Woodson. Okay? Got stuck with Rod Woodson, who was a horrible coach, which I said he was going to be a horrible coach from the get-go, even though he was a nice guy when we met him. Said he was going to be a horrible coach, right? Then he sucks it up, and then he goes to the Renegades, who are a below 500 team, and boom. Takes them to the championship and wins the championship.
You want to know something weird about that? Each time that Perez was in the XFL, he got traded to a team and they got better.
Exactly. He made his team better every time he went to a different team. So, I mean, hands down, he has to be the better quarterback. And if I'm a coach, I mean, listen, if I'm Bob Stoops and Jonathan Hayes, I am salivating that I have Luis Perez back.
Right, and that was the thing. There was a couple of players that should have got NFL contracts and that didn't. That's what also
he was one of them. And the dude taught himself how to play football on YouTube.
Mike, what was my last project that I talked about on the show today?
Oh, geez, now you put me on the spot.
When Mike was like, tell us about like where to find you and like projects you're working on, and my final one was in 5 to 10 years, I am going to be petitioning for Luis Perez to have a bust in the Hall of Fame.
He did say that. He did. I was thinking before the wrap up, but I was like, man, what was the last thing we talked about before we wrapped it up? But you're right. I mean, he said he was going to essentially just go campaigning for it, and he does deserve it. I agreed with you, Pat, didn't I? I'm like, he deserves it if you think about everything he's done in spring football. So, yeah, I mean, I guess Dirty does get wins this one probably.
And with that being said, I'm fat, I'm hungry, I got sweat going underneath my belly, I gotta eat. I'm sitting here in my boxer briefs, and I got sweat going in places it's not.
Dude, sir,
be going. Yeah, what?
Be professional as you leave.
Oh, be professional
as you leave.
Are we gonna wrap this up? Or you guys gonna keep going?
Go eat. Goodbye.
I'm gonna go eat. So that's what I'm gonna go do.
Look, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. Dirty is always right. I am always right. Tune in tomorrow for the B-Hawk Live. With that being said, guys, I'm out of here. I'll see you.
All right, he's gone. Thank you, Dirty. Hey, but before we go, we saw some of the some big players got cut today, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, could they be XFL players? Like you mentioned was Max Duggan from the Chargers. Could he see some time in the XFL? Would he make a good quarterback there?
I'm not ready for that. I don't think Max is either.
Could we get some reunions maybe? Like I saw Storm Norton's name on the cut list. Of course, we saw PJ Walker's name on it.
I think Storm needs to really reconsider his football career based off what we saw at the NFL level. He might be a 4A player. I don't think PJ's NFL career is done. I think he was exposed as a QB2, but I think he could Josh Johnson his way through the next couple of years and make some decent money.
You think, like, even with Josh Johnson getting released, that he's going to be back on somebody's squad?
Yeah,
Or you think
no, he's too smart. He's too smart. I actually met Josh Johnson's quarterback coach. He's the head coach at McKendree, and he was just like, this guy, the reason why he stays in the league is because he's smarter than everyone else. He doesn't let you know, but he knows what. Josh's break glass in case of emergency. Looking forward to seeing him start week 16 for the Arizona Cardinals.
Interesting. Interesting. All right. We're about to get out of here. Pat, thanks so much for dropping in for a bit, even though nobody can see you. Thanks, man.
It's all good.
All right, Pat. Well, hey, real quick, tell everybody where they can find you.
Analyze and Educate. Just dropped my Missouri S&T interview with Coach Ball and by Pat Ruffino on the Twitter.
On the Twitter. That's right. That's how we old schoolers do it. Thanks so much, man.
Yeah. No problem, guys. Take it easy.
All right. Before you go, Mike, let me wrap this bad boy up. Do you see anything like you saw some? I don't know if you got a chance to see some of the lists. Anybody that you saw that could, could be playing in the XFL, or you think, you know what, maybe practice squad is best for them?
I think practice squad is going to be everyone's first shot. I mean, why wouldn't you still take any opportunity you can to still obtain your dream, of making the 53 player roster, let alone play in an NFL game? And I know some of these guys already have, but that's why I think a lot of these guys are playing. I know we value the XFL or spring leagues, and I think those players value them as a way to keep their career alive, to either get to the show or make it back to the show, so to speak. So I think every one of these guys, their first thing is going to be practice squad if they have to. And then who even knows who gets the features contract towards the end of the season if they're still there. So, I mean, like, there's so much riding on their dream and money. We know the money makes the world go around. So, I mean, I'm not even going to try to speculate. I think because if anything, it's just wishful thinking, I think, at this point. And, I'd love to see a lot of guys come back. And, there's always a lot of talent you like to see in the leagues. But, unfortunately, it's not just the XFL that's going to be vying for them. You're good. The CFL will be back in play. The USFL will be in play. So, it's too much speculation, too much wishful thinking, I think, to put myself out there. I know I'm letting myself off really easy on that question. And, but I think it's really fair to think that all these guys are going to, if they don't get on the practice squad now, they're going to constantly be doing workouts for other teams that they probably didn't work out for before, trying to get on a practice squad. I think that's going to be their focus.
That's the name there, boy.
Oh, jeez.
Nathan Peterman and Ian Book. Yes, those are interesting names right there. This is my thing. I wanted at some point where that the XFL don't have to really depend on the NFL. They just make their own talent, but that starts with us as fans of the league, supporting the league, and, where it gets to a point where figures get higher for players. And I'm just not saying they're going to pluck away from the NFL, but make it just a bit more enticing for them to, and I think it will happen at some point. I know that is big wishful thinking. Man, now there's a name I would have loved to see in the XFL. James Franklin, former Mizzou guy.
I'll put myself on the spot. How about this? A guy that I could see that if he does not make it through the waivers, right? If another NFL team does not pick up his contract, I do not see somebody like Chosen Anderson signing for a practice squad. Now, he's had a long enough career, probably made enough money that maybe in his own eyes, because he's Ghost by Chosen now, he may not view himself willing to play at a spring football level. But that might be a guy that'd be like, heck, I want to play. I'm still going to prove it, but I will not go on a practice squad. So if he doesn't make it through waivers, maybe I'll put, to me, that's like taking a shot in the dark. Like that would be the type of guy, that I would think that, it's sad because I think you're so close on a practice squad, but he's been there, done that, and he probably just thinks he deserves to be probably a number 2 receiver someplace. And that's obviously not in the cards right now.
Yeah, exactly. I would love, like I said, that's my main thing. I would love to see the XFL just be that. The XFL, nobody helping them or anything like that. The NFL not getting any help with it. I know you say if the NFL would have shut its doors, I'll be pleased with it. I don't need you. That's how I would have looked at it, but that's just me.
Oh, that's
because
not gonna happen,
what'd you say, Mike?
I said we all know that's not going to happen.
I know, and that's the thing. Exactly, Mike. I'm tired of NFL fans thinking that spring football is just garbage because, like it stinks. Like it's horrible. Like I don't like the fact that they sit there and do that. I'm like, there are talented players in those leagues that the NFL coaches and, in my opinion, executives don't think that they even belong there. It's just bodies. And that's the mentality that I see, and I don't see change happening. So that's why I'm like, I look at the XFL and at some point look at it like the United States Football League of the 80s, and they get to a point where you have a substantial amount of teams, a substantial amount of weeks, and as long as it don't, I know greed is big, but I'm saying as long as you don't get to that point, it's wishful thinking, you could have a sustainable spring league. I really think that can work. It's just about people's mindsets and change. They don't want to see it. They don't believe in it. Because if that was the case, then it would be embraced a whole lot more than what it is right now. These leagues would get embraced more. But they just turn their nose up on it like it's a piece of shit. And that's what I don't like. Let's see, Brahma Babe said real quick, do you think a CFL guy maybe not making an NFL practice squad? I saw that Nathan Rourke got cut from Jacksonville. So it'll be interesting enough to see what happens come tomorrow, with these all these roster cuts and seeing if they're going to be on practice squads or not. But
again, wishful thinking with Nathan Rourke. This is why I say that, because I know the NFL pays a certain thing on a practice squad. I don't know if he would do the practice squad thing. I think he could easily latch on with a CFL team in a heartbeat. Obviously, he has done very well up there. So, I mean, unless you get the XFL to pony up some money like they had supposedly done for Hudley, I don't know. Does he take minimal money? I don't know. I think it's wishful thinking to think that he would be in the XFL.
Because I look at a lot of people want to play more than they want to sit.
It's true. And, we saw, what was the Argos quarterback there that gave it up and ended up playing for the Breakers? What was his name? Bethel Thompson, whatever.
Yeah.
He gave up a bigger paycheck to come down and play in the USFL. So I guess it's possible, but he's also in the very end of his career because I think he's like 35, 36 years old.
Twilight of his career, yeah. It's like I'm not using it because I don't think he's deserving of it, but AJ McCarron would be on that tip because like you said, he wanted his kids to see him play. So the better option for him, and I know others feel that same way, but AJ said it publicly that he wanted his kids to see him play.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? And he may not get many opportunities in the NFL. I think in my opinion, he's done with the NFL. I don't know what he thinks, but I'm just saying, I think he's actually done with it. And it's better suitable to still play a game he loves and play it where he can still sling that ball across the field. You know what I mean? So it's still, that's kind of the thing where me and Dirty had the riff is being on a practice squad. But hey, I'm in the NFL. I made it to the top spot, and I'm just gonna sit. Be patient. And then you have players that are just like, you know what, I can still play, man, and I know I can still do a good job playing on these teams. I want to go out and play, and the patience may not be the best right now. So they was like, hey, I'll go take this XFL check, man, but I'm still going, boom, I'm going to build my game up. And if somebody see me where I can make a roster right away, then yeah, I'll do that. I'll take that chance. And so you have those guys that do that too. Man, we was able to get through so much tonight. I know we've had good conversation. Grateful to have Patrick Ruffino join in, especially you as well, Mike. Before you go, sir, tell everyone where they can find you, your show and social media.
Well, so Player 54 Podcast, we're on just about every streaming platform out there for podcast. We're obviously on Twitter, or now the X, whatever you want to call it, at Player 54 Podcast. My personal one is at XFL Mike. And that works also for Instagram, and easily just type in Player 54 Podcast on Facebook, and you'll find the show. But I'll obviously plug the new one that we'll be launching on September 12th at 8 p.m. We are launching an Guardians dedicated show, Neon Green Mafia, so you could find us again on everything. There you go. That's a beautiful logo. It really is. Some really great work. I mean, I didn't do it, so I have no credit there to take. But we'll have 4 of us, hopefully weekly, and sometimes it might be 2 or 3, depending on what's going on with our schedules. But it'll be nice to kind of dive into Guardians thing. So a little long-winded there. My apologies.
No worries, man. No worries. Thank you so much, man. And as we get up out of here, man, the music is playing. Thanks to everybody that tuned into this edition of the show. We will catch you next time. Hey, make sure Wednesday night you tune in to V-Hog Live Show. Friday, make sure you tune in to the Horns Forward Podcast. Hey, Fang Gang Nation show is still alive. Listen. Fang Gang Nation is still alive. The Gridiron Podcast as well. And then you also have Smoking Guns that comes on Monday nights. All part of the X-Fan Feature. Okay? Hey, y'all. Thank y'all. We can't do this without you guys. And we have a great time on it every week. So we'll catch you next time for another edition of X-Fan Show. You can catch it right on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. All right? Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
And we out of here.